Sri Aurobindo, Mira is my refuge. Namaste, Bande Matram. Welcome all of you. This morning we have got the spiritual discussion on earth. The topic to be discussed in the light of Sri Aurobindo Savitri. The discussion will be on the topic on earth. Sri Aurobindo writes in Savitri, as we know. Of course, we are familiar, may not be fully, but to some extent we know Sri Aurobindo Savitri, the greatest epic in English literature so far. Few lines we will discuss today on Earth, the Earth goddess. Sri Aurobindo quotes here, along a path of aeon serpentine, in the coiled blackness of her nascent course, the Earth goddess toils across the sands of time. Brilliant thing, the Earth goddess toils across the sands of time. Normally, what we understand on the term Earth is not just a lifeless formation of the matter. It has been formed, lifeless, formed by matter. It is not like this. It is a conscious form of the spirit, providing a field for the manifestation of the divine's will. She carries in her womb as the seed of evolution. So this is a conscious form, not the lifeless energy formation of the matter what we normally expect or we see or we describe. Here the Sri Aurobindo has used the term the earth goddess toils across the sands of time, because we know the course taken by the earth spirit, the course, the progress, the path chosen or taken to work out and embody the evolution of the truth within is slow, uneven and difficult, because the conditions of the inconscience and obscurity and inertia. So this movement is actually getting slower, and for that, with this slowness, the earth goddess, Sri Aurobindo writes here, the earth goddess toils across the sands of time. Then will come the next page. Sri Aurobindo writes, a being is in her whom she hopes to know. A being is with her she embodies. The earth has a heart that houses her soul, but still to develop to the power subtle audition. It has to develop, it has still to develop. It is undeveloped or underdeveloped, still it is lying, the soul is there. So Sri Aurobindo writes here, a being is in her whom she hopes to know. The earth entity, ensouled by a being that is yet concealed within her depths. A being is within her, she hopes to know. A word speaks to her spirit. The second after the being, Sri Aurobindo uses the terms a word that speaks to her heart she cannot hear. The fate, the number 3 is a fate compels whose form she cannot see. It is there, the impetus is there, no more that much evolution. The travel is very much short, the progress is of course limited. So Sri Aurobindo uses the term the being is in her whom she hopes to know. It is well ensouled within. A word speaks to her heart she cannot hear. The word is yet to be heard. So she has to develop a vision that can perceive the lines of truth with which she is loaded, and they must emerge. The third one is a fate compels whose form she cannot see. The earth carries in herself a being who manifests in her the truth, second one, the truth that is being expressed, and the will that works works it out, though the means for this manifestation are not only fully evolved, still then things are going on, the embodied being is within us. Next, Sri Aurobindo quotes here on earth, in her, the unconscious orbit through the void. Out of her mindless depths she strives to rise. A perilous life her gain, a struggling joy. So, very nicely Sri Aurobindo has quoted about the evolutionary process, this slowness. Sri Aurobindo quotes here. The first rounds of the earth movement in evolution are wholly unconscious, mechanical, repetitive in the environment of the blank and devoid of any overt intelligence. Everything is covert, Everything is hidden, almost concealed. The movement is actually unconscious, mechanical, and repetitive. Like this go on, it is there. And still, she spins through the gulfs of the inconscient and tries to rise upwards in the slate of the existence. From this obscurity, from this gulf, she spins to go upward. Earth spins to go upward. Her first capital gain is the effort, is the outbreak of life in her bosom. The joy of life that she has to struggle to guard and hold in its precarious existence against all she seeks to engulf and extinguish it. There is a perilous life her gain. She has a struggling joy. Joy is struggling. The gain is actually a perilous life. Her gain is perilous gain. Because out of the inconscient it tries to spin upwards towards the light. But things are all unconscious, mechanical, and repetitive. Then Sri Aurobindo quotes another three lines, very good lines has been quoted by Sri Aurobindo. A thought that can conceive but hardly knows. The thought that can conceive, the power, that ability is there to conceive but hardly knows, arises slowly in her. That a thought is arises, but it is very slow, because this evolutionary process, this knowledge, this word, it is coming very obscurely, and creates the idea, the speech that labels more than it lights. So Sri Aurobindo speaks of the faculty of the thought. It is written that thought, a thought that can conceive but hardly knows, that tries to grasp or to understand, but can't come to know the truth in things. It is unable to know the truth of things. It creates a mental conception, the idea form of the truths that seeks for. It goes on formulating the words expressive of ideation words, because the idea, the speech, labels more than it lies. Still struggle is there, it has to come around. Then comes Sri Aurobindo's another two line we'll see. Then comes a trembling gladness is less than bliss, that is less than bliss, invades all from all this beauty that must die. Still this struggle, these falterings, these disappointments, earth pushes on. With all these struggles, falterings, and disappointments, earth goes up. Still she pushes on, breathes in the air of felicity, however thin and fugitive. It is there. It is on the way, but actually very much thin, very much fugitive, very much limited. There is a flow of universal joy from the life moment. It is there, flow is there, it starts, it is already started. Then what happens? It's working, steps up in endeavor. There is a joy, of course, maybe tenuous, but formations of harmony and beauty, a power and life, it has to promote the gladness in it, it has to come forward. Then Sri Aurobindo goes forward with another saying on earth, alarmed by the sorrow dragging at her feet, alarmed by the sorrow dragging at her feet, and conscious of the high things not yet known, ever she nurses in her sleepless breast an inward urge that takes from rest and peace. Inward urge. The obscurity, the thick density of the inconscient layer certainly pulls it back. There is a downward pull. Earth tries to grow forward in the evolutionary process, but there is a downward pull from the obscurity and thick density. Still, Earth is not discouraged. It has to go on. It has to travel up. It has to move up. Her aspiration is a force that does not rest till the objectives are reached. The objective is that the Earth movement has to go wheel upward. It has to reach the goal. But it is never discouraged by this obscurity, this downward pull. The earth is alive with the motive force from within. There is a motive force from within, and earth is alive. What we see earth is not that material things or that unconscious thing really we see. There is a movement, there is a spin, there is an awakening, there is an instinct, there is an objective before the earth. So knows not rest for the purpose till the purpose is achieved. Sri Aurobindo quotes once again, ignorant and weary and invincible. Ignorant and weary and invincible. What happens? She seeks through the soul's war and quivering pain. The pure perceives perfection her marred nature needs. A breath of Godhead on her stone and mire. The objective is there, it is fixed before the earth. The earth goddess painfully strives, struggles to achieve the goddess. Of course, there is ignorance, there is handicapped by limitations of the force in the effectuation. Still, then she does not give up her effort. The divine being is there well within her. The imperfection is there. Earth soul puts its will, still there is a strong will to make up its embodied nature whole and perfect. This perfection, this wholeness has to be achieved. And so it struggles on at every step, it does not get discouraged at all. Then Sri Aurobindo speaks of a faith. Then comes the matter of faith and love and of course truth. A faith she carries that can survive defeat. There is a faith, there is a strong faith rather in her that can survive defeat. Second, the sureness of love that knows not death. Love, there is a certainty, there is a sureness of love that knows not death. Love knows it must overcome death, it must surpass death, it must overpass death. The radiance of a truth forever sure. Now, whatever we see that truth is only a half truth or a untruth or a falsehood or meaningless or some partial truth. But there is a certainty, there is an expectation, there is an urge, there is a strong faith in her. This radiance of a truth forever sure, that certainty is there with which she has to move on. Though she has to cross the limitation, she has to surpass the bonds of ignorance and obscurity. Then Sri Aurobindo comes to the light on earth. A light grows in her, she assumes a voice. Very nice line. A light grows in her and she assumes a voice. Her state, she learns to read and the act she has done, but the one needed the truth eludes her grasp, herself and all of which she is the sign. She remembers there is a energy. That energy seems to act mechanically without overt intelligence guiding him. She knows there is a energy, there is an impetus that moves her away and moves her, spins her to the top. There is, of course, the will is there in her, will to overpass the difficulties it has to go. This grasp of full significance of her own existence and that of the universe of which is a significant center. This earth holds the key, of course, and definitely, eventually, it holds the key of the riddle of the universe. Universe is packed with riddles, but the key is with only the hands of the earth. Then an inarticulate whisper drives her steps. Earth goddess toils and moves up, spins upward. An inarticulate whisper drives her steps, of which she feels the force but not the sense. She feels. Earth goddess not fully self-aware, not fully she is aware, but feels a vague impulsion from within that guides her course. Definitely it is there, she feels, and she strongly feels there is a will, that is a impetus that moves her, that urges to move forward, and she travels on. The meaning reveals itself as the consciousness in her being grows in the evolution. That consciousness that is effectuated in her, that has been emerged from her, that grows in the process of evolution. Then Sri Aurobindo quotes, a few rare intimations come as guide when she is feeling what is the objective, how she is getting the guidance and the indications. A few intimations come as guides. Immense divining flashes cleave her brain, and sometimes in her hour of dream and muse, the truth that she has missed looks out at her, on her, as if far up and yet within her soul. She gets the guidance, she gets the implications, the indications, vague promptings are there, and there is a high moment of the guiding intimations break down from the luminosity, greater generous luminosity, revealing luminosity it comes. The presence of the truth that appears to be both outside and inside, and she travels on. Then a change and it comes near that flees from her surmise, and ever postponed compels attempt and hope, yet seems too great for mortal hope to seize. Still then she sees that grasp, she travels on, she gets the indication, and with her she goes on. A vision meets her of the supernal powers, and she travels to